Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Hashtag Behind Relationship Goals. I'm Fofo.
And I'm Bones, and we're someplace else.
As you can see, we are in a completely different location. We are in the province at the moment. There's a beach right behind the camera. It looks so beautiful right now.
I don't know if they can hear the waves, but like in the background for us, we can definitely hear the waves just go shwa, shwa.
We also have a new setup over here. We have our new portable mic, and we're hoping this works out. This is the first time we're trying it out, so let us know in the comment section if the quality is up to par. So far, from what I see, I'm loving it.
I'm loving it because our usual podcast setup is very heavy because we use very intense mics. I don't know how else to say it, but it's just really intense, really heavy, and we have so much gear. And for this episode, we decided, hey, why don't we just bring this microphone and see how it works?
And for the topic of this podcast's episode,
taping in the new normal.
A few weeks ago, I got into taping. So I locked in with GMA in their bubble for Love of My Life. So this is a teleserye that aired early last year. Pero yun nga, naudlot siya because of the pandemic.
So it would be, think of the NBA bubble, but it's a teleserye bubble. So it's kind of like the same protocols and whatnot, but we're going to discuss that in today's podcast.
Yeah, the gist of it was that we locked in for how long?
16 days.
We locked in for 16 days, and in those 16 days, 10 of them were taping days. And the others were given out for rest.
So you had a good amount of rest in between. A normal day would be 2 days of work and then rest. And then you had one chunk where you did 3 days.
3 days in a row of work, which was pretty heavy but necessary for us to finish it in the fastest amount of time.
Okay, so before we talk about the details of this new taping teleserye bubble, I think it's also important for us to discuss how was taping life before, para may point of comparison din yung iba.
Okay, yeah, we've done this before, but for all the newbies out there, we want to give you guys a baseline. So a teleserye on script runs for 13 weeks. But
13 airing weeks.
13 airing weeks on TV. But of course, it takes a lot more effort and time to be able to shoot that. So maybe 1 week of script is shot in maybe 4 to 5 taping days. But in 1 week, you have 3 taping days. So in real time, it takes maybe around 10 days to shoot 1 week worth of script.
10 days?
10 days.
Well,
no,
okay.
10 real-time days, pero 4 to 5 taping days. Because in 1 week, you have 3 taping days. That's usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
So we would tape on an MWF or a TTHS schedule for taping. So meaning we would get to go home in between taping, but a normal taping day would consist of around 20-something hours.
I would say on average, you start at 7 a.m., which means you have to wake up at around 5, sometimes a bit earlier
because
kung malayo
of travel,
yung location.
Yes.
We would stop taping or pack up taping at around maybe 3 a.m. on average, 2 to 3 a.m., and then you get home around maybe 4. So you sleep maybe 4:30 a.m., you rest for that rest day, and you don't usually have a lot of time to do much else because you end up waking around lunchtime.
Yeah, so in reality, the rest day is talagang rest, and who knows if you'll be able to do errands in those in-between days. So medyo mabigat. Kasi your body is physically tired from the emotion, the physicality of taping. And on your rest day, you literally just want to sleep. So that was taping life before. And travel, I would say, caused a lot.
Just to add something else.
Teko lang, sabi ko, travel would add.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were going to go to the next topic.
No. I was saying that travel or traveling to and from the location also caused like physical stress or
and
physical
strain.
Fatigue. Yeah.
Because being in the car, waiting to get back home or to your location, it isn't as relaxing as just being in a room or in your house waiting. So it does add to it, especially after a long day. A lot of people don't really get to rest very well inside the car. Yes, baka makatulog ka, but that sleep isn't the recovery kind of sleep.
If you have a driver. But if you're the one driving, then
it makes things even worse.
Yeah.
The teleserye runs, like we said, for 13 airing weeks. So to close a teleserye from start to finish, minimum 4 months.
Yeah, minimum.
Minimum of 4 months, and we've done one where we were taping
almost
for
a
14
year.
months. No, 14 months.
14 months.
I mean, maybe
ba
in terms of airing, it was a year, but I think we've done over a year already.
That was the Stepdaughters.
Yeah.
Yeah, we taped that for a really long time.
We've set the baseline for what taping was before 2020, but now we have a very new style which has adjusted to the new normal. This is lock-in style taping.
Lock-in style. So, lock-in style meaning you're in a bubble for a certain amount of days, and ang gagawin mo lang doon is you're just going to do work.
So how is this different from the usual style of taping?
One, we couldn't go home. So you have to stay at the location because one, you get tested before you go on the set. Everybody gets tested with a PCR test to make sure that you're negative, and you have to quarantine before going to the taping location. And it's to ensure everyone's safety, especially during this time na you don't know when somebody could get sick or if you could get sick. And the last thing that we want is na magkahawaan lahat ng tao.
And I think the question right now is, how do we prepare for this? This is something we wanted to discuss for you guys, so you see, okay, what goes into our thought process in trying to prepare for something so new. We've been doing teleseries a certain kind of way. For me, the past 10 years. For you, even longer. All of a sudden, we're thrust into this new workflow. And we all know we're creatures of habit. So to suddenly break a habit all of a sudden, it's challenging. It really is. For some, baka
And it's scary.
for some, baka sabihin nila, hindi, wala yun. But let's not underestimate how jarring it can feel when a habit is broken.
Okay, so the first thing that we did is we went into our mental space, diba? Can we... Are
you singing?
Was I? Nanginginig ko yung boses ko doon.
Your voice has been shaking the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't.
It has. Okay, anyway.
The first thing that we did is we went to our mental headspace, diba? Can we handle something like this? It wasn't something that we had done before.
In terms of expectations, the first thing that I thought was, this is scary. Because in a bubble, nothing is 100%. Nothing is certain. So the chance of catching the virus is still definitely there. It's just that we're trying to do everything we can to minimize those chances. That was the first thought.
Yeah.
How well can we protect ourselves in this bubble? The second thought that I had was, how tired am I going to be?
Considering that we knew how a taping schedule would be, like 20 plus hours, what were the new protocols now to ensure our health and safety?
Yeah, because initially I was thinking, okay, I'm going to work 20 hours on Monday. Then I'm going to sleep at 4 a.m. and wake up at 6 a.m. to go to taping at 8 a.m. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Am I going to be running on 3 hours of sleep the whole time for 15, 16 days?
Yeah.
Thankfully, there were adjustments made, and we had a strict 14-hour rule.
Very Hollywood style.
Yeah,
Hollywood.
Yeah, I guess we don't know. We've never
know.
really taped in Hollywood.
No, pero they have a protocol na dapat 14 hours. Max na yun para sa kanila.
Yeah. At 7 a.m., we have 12 hours of work time, and then the 2 hours extra is allotted for breaks, which is lunch, dinner, and maybe merienda, if we could squeeze it in. So we should finish at 11 p.m. packed up strictly, and then there has to be an 8-hour leeway time in between pack up and the next day of taping. So the soonest that we could start the next day would be 7 a.m.
Okay, what were the other things that you were thinking about before going into taping?
The other things would be clothes, wardrobe. Clothes for the rest days and clothes for work. I was like, how is this going to work? How are we going to be able to wash clothes one day and use it the very next day? So that was something that I was thinking about. And
I think another thing that we were also thinking about was nutrition.
I was about to say,
food really fuels everyone's bodies basically, but we tend to eat on the healthier side. Like, hindi tayo masyado ma-oil. We don't really like yung super deep fried food. So one thing that we were worried about, will we be able to have the food that we need to keep our energy up, to keep our health in check, diba? Because we didn't want to indulge ourselves with anything too oily or too heavy on our bodies.
Yeah, and we weren't sure what the rules were going to be. Initially, it was mentioned to us that we weren't going to be allowed to bring food in from outside. But this was during the start of the pandemic and the quarantines. So the rules and regulations at the
Were
local
different,
government level
yeah.
were also still somewhat unclear. We also didn't know which restaurants were going to open. But thankfully, when we got into the lock-in a couple of weeks ago, things were a bit clearer, things were a bit more relaxed, so we were able to order extra food from the hotel. Aside from the provided meals from the production, and there were times that the hotel would allow us to ask them to get food from outside, let's say from Food Panda, or from whatever restaurants were available outside of the hotel in the vicinity.
One thing that we also made sure of na solution to like the food, because we like to snack in the middle of the day. Of course, you know, you want to like munch on something and baka hindi provided ng production. So we wanted to make sure na, okay, the less hassle that we are to them, the better. So one, we brought our little Breville smart oven so that we could like toast bread, or that we could like reheat food that we wanted to eat later on. And we brought a lot of snacks. What was your favorite snack that we brought?
Actually, Bonizi, before we get to that favorite snack, Bonizi is basically segueing into what did we bring. So we're segueing into what we actually thought we needed. So Bonizi, when we were planning things out,
Okay.
you wanted to bring your snacks, right?
Yes, I
And
wanted
what
to bring a
snacks did
lot
we
of
bring?
snacks. We brought cereal because we like eating cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We brought our favorite Presto peanut butter cookies. We brought Nescafe, syempre we like coffee. And all these other things. Basta marami kaming dinala.
Okay, so when it came to the food part, Bonizi brought her snacks, but we also brought things that we felt would help us in the in-betweeners. So in between lunch and dinner, in between dinner and midnight snack.
Yeah.
We also brought a rice cooker.
Yes.
And this rice cooker is where we cook rice, but at the same time, we also cook pancit
Noodles.
canton and noodle soup. The noodle soup we brought was Lucky Me, siling labuyo, chicken and beef. Oh my
The
god.
chicken. Oh my gosh.
It's our favorite.
I'm a fan.
Do we have a vlog on that? Not yet.
I don't think it's... No. You
It's not
haven't
on the vlog
edited
yet. Okay. But everything else that we're mentioning here, you can watch it on the vlog. I had a first day vlog about locking in Tagaytay. So check that out. The other things that we brought was for work. So I brought my laptops. Bonizi brought her laptops because her job while I was taping was to stream.
Yeah, I had a couple of streams that I had to do for work and for fun. So at least I wasn't completely bored the whole time. I had a lot of work to do. We brought our laptops. We brought our products that we needed to shoot for while we were in lock-in. Kasi medyo matagal-tagal din ng time na nandun tayo.
And at the same time, I brought all of my production equipment. Everything. I brought this camera. I brought the small tripod. I bought 3 or 4 tripods. So 3 small tripods
One
for
big
this
one.
camera, for the lights that we have, 1 big one. I brought my super duper big jumbo light with the big light dome, which we never used.
Yeah, we never used it. We brought it back in the car eventually.
And the reason why we never used that, we'll get into it a bit more later, is because the light in that hotel was beautiful. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about the hotel and break everything down one by one. But let's kind of finish what we brought and what we didn't really need.
The next thing that we brought is we brought a little bit of equipment, like gym equipment. So I brought the bands because I felt like we needed like some stretching. We brought the roller, but we also brought the massage pillow that I bought online because I just knew that there wasn't going to be a massage area at that hotel. And of course, gusto namin iwasan na may contact with other people. But I figured na Mikael is going to be so tired from taping. His body is going to be sore from going around. I mean, yes, he's just acting and like whatnot.
Just acting? Oh my god.
No. Not just acting.
I'm
But
kidding, I'm
sometimes
kidding.
people think na parang you're just using your emotion. They don't really see the physicality of it. Na it does strain your body after being on set for an excessive amount of time. So I was like, okay, I need to make sure that whatever I'm going to bring to this taping will make Mikael's life much easier. It's gonna make him relax even more. So when I was planning everything out, I even had a notebook pa with everything that we needed to bring. My top priority was to make sure that you would be comfortable, that you would be happy, and that you wouldn't have to worry about anything.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was my priority in packing. Like, I put everything aside for me. Like, everything that I brought was just for work.
Okay, to add to your point, Bones, about the physicality of taping, there's a lot of hidden physical work which even the newbies might not realize, and most especially those who haven't been able to experience a production set yet. For me, I had an average of around 30 scenes per day. In this location, you have to walk from the standby area or our hotel room to the set. And walking is like what? Maybe 50 meters, 100 meters, sometimes 200 meters if you have to go downstairs. And that's fine, right? So as soon as you walk out the door, you'll be able to kind of see the set from where you are. But it's still a good 50 to 200 meter walk at the very least. So you have to do that. Go to the set. When it's done, you have to go back to your area. So you're at around maybe 300 to 500 meter walk.
Well,
right?
you're getting your steps in if that's what you're going for.
And if you have 30 scenes, and let's lowball it a little bit, okay? 20 scenes times 500 meters, then you're at like what? A couple of kilometers already.
And to think that Tagaytay is hilly, like especially your location, because it's not just flat.
Yeah, so basically you are walking. I mean, maybe 500 meters is overshooting it, but you're definitely walking a couple of kilometers in a day. Aside from acting, aside from the mental energy you need to spend to get into your scene and memorize your lines, and basically just be aware and focused the whole day. So that's something that I definitely felt in this taping, and that I would also feel in other tapings naman. It's just that it was more pronounced here.
Okay, now that we're done talking about what we brought, I think let's try to explain how a regular day at taping was.
Oh,
From the beginning of the day, let's break it down. Break it down.
Okay, so this is fun. This is very fun. So remember, 10 taping days, and then we had rest days, and Bonizi was with me. Bonizi was a super duper important part of my work. Because having that other extra person who can possibly take the load off in certain areas was it was such a huge advantage for me. And here's why. Average start time for taping is 7 a.m.
Yes.
That means Bonizi and I would
You have to be ready on the set by 7.
Bonizi and I would wake up at around 5:45, 6 a.m., which was already a huge plus because normally we would have to wake up at like 4:30 a.m. because we would have to travel. It was like a 30-second walk. So thumbs up for that. So here's what happened. As soon as I wake up, within 30 seconds, I'm in the shower.
You're like, ninja.
Yeah, I'm like, I get up, shirt off, shorts out, straight to the shower.
Whoa!
Well, do I take a shower with my clothes on?
I'm just
Okay, and while I'm taking a shower, Bonizi is making coffee and getting the food from the buffet.
Yeah, because buffet opens at 6 a.m. So I have to make sure, okay, I have to be the first one there, of course, social distancing. So the earlier you are there, the better, the less people there are. So I pick out the breakfast. I ask them to please bring it to the room, na pang room service. And while we're waiting for the breakfast to arrive, I'm already making coffee for Fofo.
Yeah, and as soon as I get out, all the coffee and all the food is ready. So as I'm drinking my coffee and eating my food, I'm also getting all my scripts ready. So I'm looking through what my first scenes are, and I'm already multitasking, studying. And Bonizi, if possible, she'll try to prepare whatever I need. It might be my bag, it might be my face mask and the alcohol. Basically, my safety kit and my safety essentials that I need to bring with me when I'm on the set.
Yes, and then after Mikael eats breakfast, all he has to do is get that safety bag that I prepared and walk out the door. He doesn't even have to worry about cleaning up because one thing that I made sure of is he doesn't have to worry about picking up after himself because one thing that I wanted him to focus on was his script. Like, that's the only thing he needs to work on, his script lang. And I didn't want him to have to think about anything else because you're there for work. If you had to think about other stuff, it would delay your work schedule, it would delay your efficiency, and yun naman talaga yung punot dulo kung bakit ka nandun.
And I could not overstate the importance of what Bonizi did for me in taping and how beneficial it was to make me a better and more efficient talent in the production. Because having to not think about all these unnecessary things that don't necessarily relate to work, like cleaning my coffee cup or taking my plate out so that room service can get it, or fixing the bed, or making sure that the room is nice and tidy. I didn't have to think about that. All I had to think about was, as soon as I wake up, let's get ready for work. And it was a beautiful synergy. But what Bonizi and I had, I think our work synergy was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And kinikilig si Bones now. I don't even need to look at her. You can just see the smile on her face, and I can feel the smile on her face. But that was absolutely amazing, and that hit home for me because even if the tables were turned and Bonizi was the one working, I would do the exact same thing. And I would know now how much that would help her.
Yeah. Aw, so you're gonna make me laba. You're gonna laba my clothes.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's move on throughout
Okay,
the day.
okay,
So that was actually just the start, but that already gives you a good idea of what kind of synergy and what kind of division of work Bonizi I had throughout the day.
Yeah. While Mikael is at taping, I am fixing up the room for the morning because what I want is pagdating niya ulit sa room, everything is clean, everything is fixed, so he feels relaxed. And that is the number one thing that I want from Mikael, is for him to be relaxed when he goes back to the room. So I fix the bed, I clean all the coffee things that we use, like the cups and all that, and I take out all the food that we ate during the day, or all the plates that we ate during the morning. So I make sure that everything is clean, and then I start doing my dailies for my games while I wait for Mikael. So my morning is quite efficient. I just clean up and then I do some games in the day.
I think it's important to note when I do my dailies, because
When do you do your dailies?
okay, so when we get to the set, I want to be there early. And when you're there early, of course, there's still a lot of waiting time. In any production set, lagging my waiting time yan. So on the set, when I know I've memorized my lines, when I know I'm ready to get into the scene right away, usually maybe art department has to set something up. Lighting has to set something up. Maybe my co-actresses are still getting ready because the ladies, they always have a lot more to do than the guys. That's what the time that I use to do my dailies. And I do it throughout the day. So I have 30 scenes. I usually have around at least a couple of minutes each scene to wait. And that's when I do my dailies. So at least efficient rin ako. I don't stop and play games and then work. I do my games during work when there is time.
Actually, even for me, like, I would really try to schedule my work during the times that I know that you're the busiest. So I would do all my postings and all my pictures. I would take them with the camera. Oh, mahirap mag-picture pala mag-isa. Pero I like it. It's fun.
It's fun.
I can take as many photos
I take
as
a lot
I
of
want.
photos myself on my own as well.
Yeah, so it was pretty fun trying to figure how to do everything out alone. And I would schedule that in the midday. And usually when I would stream just before you would come back for dinner. So I'd stream at 5 and make sure I end by 7 because I know that's when I need to take care of you na.
Okay, so I guess we're casually moving and segueing into the things that we liked and maybe did not like about this new system.
Okay.
Because that was rinse and repeat, what we would do. The one thing that I really, really liked while we were taping was that after every scene, it felt like I could go home. And what do I mean by this? Okay, on a normal set, pre-pandemic, we would go on set, and then after the scene, I have to go back to my tent. And in my tent, I mean, it's a taping bed. It's not the most comfortable situation in the world. But in lock-in taping, I would go home to my own hotel room where my wife can be found, where I have all my stuff. Like I said, we made it our home. We bought our equipment. We had a nice bed. We had all my tech, all my games, everything was available.
You found a wild Bonizi.
Right?
That didn't sound right.
But anyway, yeah, so after every scene, I would go home to you. And that felt amazing. Because yung feeling ko at yung gaan ng mindset ko, yung gaan ng katawan ko whenever I would go home was just incomparable. I would take that any day. I mean, 5 minutes with you in between scenes is so much better than 5 minutes in a tent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was just thinking, I totally messed up. You found a wild Bonizi. I was trying to figure out like, oh yeah, it's a Pokemon reference, but it just sounded really funky right there. But I'm happy that you were able to come home to your wifey, and I got coffee ready for you even in the afternoon so that you could be pumped for taping.
Diba? Paminsan-minsan, pag pagod na pagod ako, sasabihin ko, Bonizi, pamasahe naman ng konti lang.
Tapos sasabihin ko, may massage pillow naman tayo.
Oo. So wala ring masahe from Bonizi. Pero okay lang naman. But me, I think that was the one biggest saving grace in terms of actual work. Being able to go home. Kasi totoong recovery siya.
Yeah.
I could lie down in bed for like 5 to 10 minutes in between scenes. And there were times I would take super quick power naps. And ang sarap.
Oh yeah.
Like totoong power nap siya. It's different taking a power nap in your car or in a taping chair where you're not fully lying down with really nice pillows and a comfortable bed. So for this taping, I was like, ooh, this feels really good.
Okay, so since we're doing a breakdown of what we like and what we don't like already, let's break it down per factor at taping. So let's start first with the accommodations.
Let's get into the different factors that played into
the whole bubble.
Okay, so first of all, our accommodations was Twin Lakes Hotel. Can I just say, Twin Lakes, you are amazing.
Let's give a clap right now. Dun, 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 dun. We love the hotel so much.
Okay, first of all, it was beautiful. We were unsure of the state of the hotel. I had never seen the hotel either.
We had never been there.
But the rooms, the lobby, the function areas, the places where we taped were spot on. They were so clean.
So
they looked
beautiful.
really good. And our room had the morning sun. So when the sun rose, you could see the room. And I had a couple of time lapses, which I'll use in the vlog.
Yeah.
But it was so nice to wake up to the morning sun.
Yeah, I remember I would leave the curtains open at night just so that when we would wake up in the morning, the sun would slowly start to like spill into the room. And it was just a relaxing way to wake up to.
Yeah, and in terms of facilities, there was a gym, which I was able to use 2 or 3 times. And then there are so many balconies to enjoy the view of Taal.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, all these things, at certain times and points in our lives, we might take them for granted.
Yeah.
But when you're locked in for taping for 16 days, every little bit counts.
Matters. Another thing that I liked about the accommodations, aside from the view, was the fog. You have a time lapse of, you know, you could see everything. You could see like Taal and like Tagaytay and whatnot. And then the fog slowly starts to creep up. And I just thought it was so beautiful. And it was so different from what we usually see.
And to add to the fog, sorry, were you done?
No, yeah.
And to add to the fog is the weather. So this was the first time that I had experienced never, and I mean never, sweating on taping. It was
the best
crazy.
feeling.
We are in the Philippines. So when we tape in locations or when we tape even indoors, you have to turn off the aircon. It gets really hot. It's impossible not to sweat. And for the first time ever, in a 2-week stretch, kahit kailan, hindi ako pinawisan in taping. I was like, oh my God, this is such an amazing feeling. And
Hindi ka nag-oily.
Diba? And nag-oily pa rin naman. Hot or cold, my skin does get oily. But it was such an amazing feeling because it felt so comfortable. Kasi hindi ka lumalagkit, hindi dumidikit yung mga damit mo sa'yo, hindi mo kailangan magpunas or maghilamos throughout the day.
In short, sana laging Tagaytay.
Sana laging Tagaytay during the Burr months. So, I guess to make you guys understand what was happening in terms of locations, for our teleserye, they were able to adjust all the locations to fit inside the hotel. So not once did we have to move out. It was always within the hotel grounds. And they would try as much as possible to not go outside anymore.
Honestly, did you feel safe while doing your taping?
To be honest with you, in terms of safety, there was still a level of kapraningan because marami ka pa rin sa buong production.
Yes.
So you're around a lot more people than we're used to. More often than not, it's just you, me, and Sel and Meng at home. So to have that many people, and there still were some guests allowed inside the hotel.
There were guests, but
you still have that level of uncertainty, like, oh my God, could someone have it? Because people are still coming in. Of course, there are safety protocols in place where you have to get tested before coming into the hotel. But that's not 100% surefire way to block out the virus, right?
Yeah, and I think for the most part, you or like the actors have the most amount of time with your masks off because you're not shooting your scenes with your mask on.
Yeah.
So obviously, when the camera starts rolling, you're gonna have to take that off. So
Yeah.
that already leaves you open. So I think more importantly, like GMA really reassured us and they really put in all the safety protocols in place. It's just that syempre, you can't be complacent, diba?
Yeah.
Like everyone, no matter how safe you are, you have to like be double time or like think of an extra layer of safety that you can put upon yourselves.
Yeah, and we actually did that. So Bonizi and I, on a personal level, we got an extra PCR test in the middle of taping. And that extra PCR test was actually going to help everyone else because they would find out if one of the people inside the bubble were positive or negative. Thankfully, we were negative.
You're negative.
But that came out of our own pocket because we felt that it was something we just wanted to do to feel safe.
I think it's also important to note that if you were out of the room most of the time, for me, like 90% or 95% of the time, I was just in the room. And I would stay there, one, because I want to stay inside and stay safe, like help out everybody else and not nagkakalat dun sa hotel. So I was inside for the most part. But of course, you know, I was taking care of you and you were outside most of the time.
Okay, so Bonizi, so far we've been talking about this lock-in taping and it seems like we're trending towards it being an advantage.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that we liked.
Yeah.
And I think we could discuss things that we didn't like, but just to add to why I really enjoyed taping like this is because of the internet in the hotel.
Oh, really?
The internet in the hotel was amazing.
Oh, okay. So the internet was amazing. But I'm going to put a but to
Why?
the internet because I need to stream. Okay. And when I stream, I need a certain like speed.
You
for
need a
my-
certain quality of internet.
Yes, I need a certain quality of internet. And for those that had watched the stream while we were at the lockdown, I was so glitchy. I looked like an alien while I was
Yeah.
streaming. And syempre, I have branded streams that I need to take care of and I want to ensure the best quality. Pero hindi ko nagawa yon. But I was still able to do it. I was still able to work. Pero it could have been better.
It could have been better, but for me, it was perfect because
It was
I didn't
perfect.
have to stream.
Yeah.
And
if
what
you
I
don't
like,
have to stream, then it's great.
yeah, what I liked about it was first of all, Wi-Fi was consistent. It was always present. There were almost zero dropped Wi-Fi
Yeah.
signals, and two, the coverage was amazing. So coverage was seamless. If you went first floor, second floor, basement 1, 2, 3,
Three.
4, almost anywhere, any room, there was always Wi-Fi signal, which is so important because we had to keep up
With
communication with family, with work, with clients, with our games. So I just thought that was amazing. I mean, like I said, you give me good Wi-Fi and I'm a happy man. So
And I don't think it's completely superficial kasi somebody could say na, why do you need internet all the time? Well, like Mikael mentioned, it's important for us, for our mental well-being also, to keep in touch with our family members na they're always updated with us kung kamusta ba kami, are we okay during this taping, are we healthy? And also, it also helps us be happy, diba?
Bones, it also helped.
Our work.
It helped production because everybody knew that we were going to be able to Viber or Messenger or WhatsApp one another and everyone was going to be able to receive it.
That's true.
Hindi na problema yung load.
Yeah.
Kasi lahat may internet. So nakatipid pa nga yung iba kasi hindi na kailangan mag-load. And then the other production people were able to FaceTime or video call their friends and their family at any time. They were able to watch YouTube and Netflix during their downtime, listen to music on Spotify. So it really was such a huge advantage having internet everywhere in the hotel.
I think generally we really like taping.
Yeah.
What was the one thing that you didn't like?
Wow.
Because I mean, we have a lot of good things to say, but I mean, there are always pros and cons to this thing.
I don't think there's anything I did not like about taping. This new taping style I absolutely loved. The only thing that I could say is sana hindi natin ginagawa during the pandemic. Like, yun lang. But of course, this was born out of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So my wish is that in the future, when this pandemic has passed us, hopefully we can still use this kind of taping. And, I would talk to the director, castmates, production people, and a lot of people voiced their support of this style of taping because there are so many benefits. And I think one of the biggest benefits to add is time. Because in such a short amount of time, you are able to condense and be so efficient with your work and produce so much content and footage for the teleserye. We were able to produce 3 weeks worth of footage in 2 weeks, which otherwise we would have only been able to do 1 week worth of script.
Yeah. I think if there was a disadvantage to it, I think it would just be time away from family.
Yes.
Because people aren't used, or like in production or in the entertainment business, we're not used to being away from home for so long, for extended amount of time.
Yeah.
And I would say that it would be hardest on like new parents because hindi pwedeng, diba may bata, like traveling or like in certain places. If I was a new mom, for example, like I wouldn't want to be away from my child for that long or that amount of time.
That is true.
And I think another one would be being away for so long, parang who holds the responsibilities in their home? Parang what if they're the ones that are in charge of everything? And there's an adjustment period talaga.
Additionally to what you said, it also depends on what kind of time you are looking for with your family. Because if you're shooting a 1-year teleserye, then that's a lot of time, quality time not spent with your family because you're basically just home, but you're always sleeping and recovering. Your energy is not full.
Yeah.
But if you do this after 2 months, you have 8 months or 10 months left with your family of quality time, but you earn the same amount.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just everything was condensed. So, but you are right. If you are new parents, then of course that's something you have to think about.
Or if you don't have somebody to watch your pets, that's also another thing.
But at least now we have options, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we are now able to choose, okay, maybe this fits this story and this production team better, and then maybe it fits production team B a bit better.
Yeah.
So it just depends. But for me, I really, really enjoy this style. And another plus was being able to relate with my castmates, Carla, Rian, Tita Connie, and everyone else. It's an experience. I mean, I messaged each and every one of them after taping ended, and I was like, oh my God, what an experience. I loved working with you guys. It was absolutely unforgettable for me. So I messaged them that, and it's like we had gone through something major, a major milestone together. And when you go through anything major together with anyone, kahit friends mo lang, kahit workmates, parang may bond.
Yeah.
No? And then you get to relate to them every day. So it felt like camp in a certain way. So that was a plus for me because I like relating with my workmates. I think that relating with workmates well adds to the fulfillment and chemistry of work.
So we're kind of like going to like the end of taping, the end of the podcast. Oh no. But usually kasi pag taping, we always have a little gift that we give to everybody in production, the staff, and we call it ang palas day. So it's usually food or sometimes people give away stuff. Pero ano yung palas day natin para sa taping mo?
So for our palas day, I found out that a friend of mine has a restaurant near Tagaytay.
Yeah. In that area.
In their Instagram, I saw that they had bibingka, chocolate, and puto bumbong. So the restaurant is called Mozu at Mings. And I asked them if they could send over bibingka and puto bumbong and chocolate for the whole production. So yun yung ginawa ko on the very last taping day, and everybody was able to enjoy. And I was just happy. It was just a nice cherry on top of all the work that we had done.
Yeah, parang pa-thank you namin for taking care of the both of us. Like, even though I wasn't on the set, syempre, like, I was eating the food from production. So we were really happy with how everything turned out. And we wanted to treat everybody a little something sweet before the day ended.
And with that, we get to the final question, or the final discussion point of the podcast.
The loaded question of the week. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, the loaded question is, what kind of taping would we like to be in the future?
Of course, I would imagine taping in a bubble without a pandemic. Of course, that is the ideal situation that we want, to be able to do something na wala tayong kinakatakutan. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm really in favor of doing everything in one go, because we're able to focus all our energy on that project and on that taping, and there are no in-betweens that get us distracted. Like, I think that's favorable for us. And what I hope for in the future also is, aside from the daily teleseries that we have, I really dream that we have shows where it's shown weekly.
Why is
Parang
that?
like in the US. Para it's really just, okay, this is the story, this is what we have in mind. We're not going to adjust anything because of like feedback or whatnot, but we want to make sure that this is a story we want to show you and we want you to enjoy.
For me, I obviously choose lock-in taping, but my choice is to do that without a pandemic hanging over our heads. And yeah, it's simple as that. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and I hope you guys learned, or at least naaliw kayo sa mga stories namin. And with that, we gotta go, and we're gonna enjoy the beach. I'm Fofo.
And I'm Bones.
And this is #Behind Relationship Goals. Bye, guys.
Bye! Nanginginig ang boses!